I would have to say that in the days of the Grimoire, when it was in the peak, the Canadians were superior in what I called math metal, where it was extremely complicated. Right. And would you like to talk about that to the audience?
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, of course. I mean, I come from that world anyways. I mean, we started like this, right? We had 30 riffs in a song. Kataklysm was like doing 8-minute songs, 7-minute songs. I understand that world. Cryptopsy, Voivod, all these bands. Now you got a new generation of bands like Beyond Creation and all that. They're doing that type of thing, like the tech death metal. It's just Canada has a different water. It's a different place. It's not matchable with any other country. It has to work harder to get noticed. It has a different animal behind it, and you got to be crazy like that. And it has some great musicians in Canada. But we, as Kataklysm, for example, we started that way, but we decided to take a different path, like a different, more melodic approach, a different approach to music in general. We went in a different approach than being just like extremely technical and needing a calculator to know what you're doing musically. You know what I mean? But it's not like we can't do it. The band is able to do it. It's just we chose a different path. But I respect what Canada's done to get away from the pact, and being that type of country where you got these crazy musicians that are able to do that. Even Devin Townsend, in his own way, is very fucking out there. You know what I mean? It's not the typical,
Well, I would say that in the early days, Chicago metal had its very own sound compared to everybody else, and Canada, whether it's Montreal or West.
Yeah, that's where I live. I live in Chicago now. I've been there 16 years, and I love the city, and I would expect Chicago to be one of the biggest death metal cities in the country, but it's not. There's nobody coming out of Chicago really, right now. It's out of New York. Now it's actually the trendy thing now. It's like, you're from fucking Idaho. Cool, dude. There's this death metal band from Idaho that's coming out. It's like, it's almost like people are looking for anything that's out of the ordinary, out of the big cities, So if you're from Idaho, let us know, man. Sign you.
Do you know who the father of Canada is?
As far as metal is concerned?
It's just a general question.
No, well, the father of Canada.
Is Canada.
Yeah, well, Canada, it's not...
Well, that was Grimoire.
There's not really... Canada has been fought between the French and the English, so I don't know if you want to go that way. But if we're talking metal, the father of Canadian metal, I think, as far as the heavy stuff from Quebec, where I'm from, originally Montreal, I would say Voivod is. They're the band that fucking opened all the gates for everybody internationally. There was bands before them, but that's the band, that like opened everybody's doors. Voivod.
If I may just offer something personal, I went to Montreal thinking that Quebec-y French hate Anglo people, but everyone was very friendly to me, and Montreal, seriously, of all the cities I've ever visited, is my favorite city in the world. Can you talk more about what makes Montreal so special? It's
a melting pot, and the thing is about Montreal that makes it different is that it's fucking a European country in North America. It's the oldest. Quebec is the oldest province, state, if you want to call it like that, here in North America. So it has this very European approach. The church, as you want to say it, controlled... Tabernacle controlled. All the swear words are church words. They controlled Quebec. And that made everybody become rebels. And everybody became, metal. That's why metal's so big. Metal is very close. A lot of European bands that are huge in Europe are big in Quebec for some reason. And then in the U.S., not the same. So it's a very different approach.
Let me ask about a certain departure of yours. Are you still rolling? I would like to know more about what led to the band Ex Dio.
Right. Well, that's more me going into my heritage and being Italian origin, and to me, I didn't relate to the Viking stuff. It's not me, and it all was real big stuff that came out of it, and there was nobody touching, in my opinion, a subject that's extremely real that happened and it was extremely brutal. There's nothing more brutal than what the Romans did across, the world. 1,000 years of history. We invented the cross everybody uses in metal. The upside down cross was used on Christians from the Romans. So there's nothing more evil, more destructive, and more crazy with all the emperors and next day. And that's one thing that we're going to be pushing extremely hard in the next couple of years. We're going to be bringing that a lot more. And we're planning on coming to the U.S. with it and everything.
I would have never imagined that you were of Italian descent.
Okay.
But
with a name like Maurizio.
But French and
Maurice, yeah, maybe Italian. Yeah, I got you.
They're both Romance languages.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about Romania being named as the country that is the most pure of the Roman languages?
Are you talking about Romania for real?
Yeah, Romania. Someone told me that they speak the purest Latin.
They have a very, very old Latin that's very close to the Italian language as well, and it used to be a Roman territory. Maybe they decided to keep their heritage more. You know what I mean? But it's if you go all over Europe, man, you got Colosseums all over in Germany, everywhere. It's everywhere in England. It's really a great place if you want to if you ever want to do a escape and go back and understand where everything comes from. Italy, first of all, is the first country to visit, and then just go all around. Places like Romania, Czech Republic, all that. And you can see all these amphitheaters that were everywhere, and just the history, You have to go back in time to understand where we are today, you know what I mean?
Was your... is it a project or an actual band, XD?
It was a project that I'm going to turn into a full-time band soon.
Was it mostly embraced by the people who consider themselves to be of the pagan metal background?
Well, it obviously hits that because what I'm talking about is ancient Rome, which was not about religion. I'm not Byzantine, so I'm before that, right? So obviously it does affect the pagan people, and that's why we did Pagan Fest a few times too, and it does in Europe and all that. It hits. We could tour bands like Ensiferum with that, but then we could turn around and tour Deicide. The guys in Deicide love the band. David Vincent came to all the shows when we played in Florida. It's got this underground epic type of feel to it, which is serious, and I think that's what people get into. But the problem is, what I want to do with this project, it needs to be fulfilled in a big way, because if you're going to do Rome, you need to do Rome big. You can't do Rome half-assed in a small shitty fucking joint somewhere and it's like, hey, I'm here, It's like, no, it needs to be big, and that's what I'm planning on doing, investing in it and bringing it like a theater. That's what I want to do.
Is there anything you would like to tell television land that is a misconception about Roman civilization, or anything about ancient Italians?
Well, the Italians, we made pizza, that's has nothing to do with any of that. The misconception is that, I'll tell you something that I know that I've seen. When I was in the Roman Colosseum, which was interesting to me, is that they had a big sign in there written in Latin that said that, no Christians were killed here because of their beliefs or whatever. Anybody that was killed in the Colosseum was killed because of being a criminal. It had nothing to do with religion.
I'm very happy you said that.
But they used it. They used it into this thing where they wanted to use that to, for propaganda purposes, that they killed Christians and all that, but it was all about criminals. That's the only people that got killed in there because that was the death sentence in those times. Today we use the chair, the whatever fucking, the needle, whatever. Back then it was that. It was for entertainment purposes. They said, let's make a couple dollars doing a show, now it's soccer, it's football, it's whatever. Back then the Colosseums were about that. So
well, perhaps you'd like to talk about this. I'm glad that you said what you said without me leading the question.
Yeah.
In that religious myth is sometimes interpreted as Christian history,
right?
But it's just mythology, and in the early days of the Roman Empire, we didn't have the same rights as, I don't know if Canada has the same rights as America, but you had to ask permission to assemble in groups, and that was one problem with Christians, in that they were criminals. They did not ask permission.
Well, they were cult. They were considered a cult, right? And it wasn't a problem until they don't want to pay taxes and stuff like that, and that's
present day situation.
Right. So then the government was like, to be honest, Rome was like the most open civilization that existed, because in their time it was all about, you could do whatever you want in the country. You want to be whatever you want to be. You want to worship whatever you want to be. That's cool, but you got to pay taxes to the emperor. That was what we're doing here. That hasn't changed, right? That was considered free society. If you go outside of the Roman Empire, then you have a different type of society, which you had a king, and when you have a king, it's like he's the boss, everybody else is not a boss. So there was no democracy outside of the Roman Empire back then. That's a big misconception. Everybody thought it was, Roman rule, they're evil, blah, 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 they killed Jesus. It has nothing to do with that. They actually brought society, like civilization. As soon as the Roman Empire fell, it's called the Dark Ages. And there was nothing. Then there was disease, destruction, no respect. Everybody's killing each other. It was man for man, there's nothing else left. It took a long time, and there's a period of history that doesn't exist in time. That doesn't exist. Like, it's wiped out from humanity. Nobody knows what happened for about 100 years. So that's when you have some sort of society and when you don't. So it depends what you prefer.
What do you attribute is the reason why you have survived all this time in metal?
I think just, adapting. I believe that it's not about who's the strongest. It's about who's able to adapt to every situation. The world going to shit, and can I survive without any money, or can I survive with money, or like whatever it is? And it's all about adapting. If it's not about who's the strongest, who adapts survives. That's my mentality with things. I don't believe about I'm the strongest right now. Yeah, but what if a lot of people get weak, and then because they're weak, they don't know how to handle the situations when they're down. I think what makes a real band is a band that's able to survive whatever circumstance. I'll give you an example. We played here tonight in Dallas. I heard there was like 350, 400 people in here. I do 1,500 people in Germany, in Europe, every night, Kataklysm. I sell out rooms. For us, if I was a poser, I wouldn't do this. I do it anyways because I want to play the country, and I want to play for the people that know my band. So that's how you survive. It's about understanding that not everywhere is the same, and you have to do what you got to do everywhere. 50 people, 2,000, be able to do that. Who can do that? Not everybody.
I would like to know why you think that metal is strong everywhere outside of America. I don't know how metal is in Canada.
Because we have something called TV here that influences people every fucking day. They tell you what to be, how you should dress, how you should think, blah, blah, blah. This is better than you, blah, blah, blah. If you go to Germany, open the TV, I'm in a hotel room, I open the TV, it's so fucking boring that I want to just fucking close the TV and go outside and do something. And I think that's the difference in a way, in a big way. It's about how society is brainwashing people in this country every day about how they should be, how they should think, pop pills, listen to mumble rap, and you're cool. What the fuck is that? There's no music. It's cool? What the fuck is that? And that sells 1 million records? It says a lot about the society, where it's going. You want to know how society's going? Go to Walmart over here. See all the, you're going to see zombies coming out of there, right? So there's a problem in the country, deterioration, and there's values in Europe. People protect what they have. They fight for family. They fight for things that are different. Here, it's like, hey, I got to pass no matter what. And that's the thing. We're spoiled here. I live here 16 years. I know. I got kids here. Everybody's spoiled, and, I got family that came out of World War II. When they came out of World War II, when they couldn't, a piece of bread was like important. It's a different mentality, and I think Europe's been through so much wars and conquering and all that they appreciate things better. Here it's just it's new, still new if you think about it.
Well, I wanted to ask you how other Kataklysm,
not criticizing it, I'm just saying it's what
how would XDO or Kataklysm connect with the young people who have safe spaces and other things?
It's going to be very difficult with Kataklysm, because Kataklysm is very, it's a street-oriented band. It's about struggle, but it's about making something out of yourself and fighting towards something. If you're going to be in your safe space, you ain't fighting for nothing. And I don't believe in that. See, I don't believe in any of that, entitlement bullshit. I'm the opposite of that. So you're not going to get a friend here with that if you're a little, in the corner and not want to do something. You got to first believe in yourself and do something forward. And then you're going to get some sort of inspiration, what we do. So if you're asking for, put me in a corner and, give me my space everywhere, it's like, you're not going to get it. That's life world is not like that, Exhorder is history. So Exhorder is about history. It's about, politics a little bit and whatever fucking shit happened in ancient Rome. So that's all about, you want to leave home for 2 hours and get back into ancient Rome and feel it. That's cool. You got Exhorder, right? Cataclysm is about everyday life. So it depends your mentality on that, man. I'm a fighter, dude. All my life I come from a poor background, fighting. My fists, no guns, fists in Canada. You know what I mean? Coming from that mentality, it's like, getting jumped on every fucking day you go to school. I know all about bullying, but you never see me fucking going to, fucking. It's like, dude, everybody got their ass kicked. It was just the way it was. Makes man, it doesn't make man. That's the way I see it.
Could you talk a little bit more about maybe Prejudice? I think when you grew up, maybe it was Canadian Prejudice, but I'll leave it as an open-ended question. I don't want to lead you into anything, but what prejudice have you encountered in your life?
It's a good question. What prejudice? You're looking about normal life or just music?
Anything. We're opening up to the viewers.
Well, I mean, when I went to school, my name's Maurizio. It was already different than all the French names that were there, so I had a little bit of that. But I think
your name is not Francois.
No, it's not Francois. That's my guitar player. And it was fine. He was fine. He was good in school. And so I had that little thing, but I quickly realized that being different is not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, I was cool with that in the end. But for metal, if I look at the problems, if you're from Canada, you have a massive mountain to climb because everybody's looking at the U.S. first. Canada's always secondary. It's not like, it's like Australia. It's like, it's out there, but it's not. It's Sweden, it's Finland, it's, the U.S., and now, finally, in a way, Germany is starting to have some bands come out. But that's it. Anywhere you're coming from, I manage a lot of bands in the industry. I manage Flesh God Apocalypse from Italy.
Amazing band.
My boys. And, I worked really hard to bring Italy out of the, shadows, and I'm doing it with these guys. I'm fighting hard for them. And they're going to come back in March. They're doing a tour out here in March. Not announced. You get it first right here. And it's going to be a really killer tour. I can't say more than that. But it's going to be fucking badass. It's only them. House of Blues, Dallas. So... manage Septic Flesh from Greece. It's another hard fucking band to manage because they're from Greece. I remember at some
I had no idea you managed these bands.
Yeah, Karakangren from Holland. That's another of my
bands. We have
bands.
to talk.
Yeah, that's another of my bands. I like the underground shit, man, but I go for the bands that have less opportunity. I'm like taking them from the bottom and I'm like, I'm going to make you something. And that's why they're coming in the U.S. I own the agency that tours. Half of the tours you're seeing are booked by my agency. All the posters that are...
I really had no idea.
Yeah. So I'm bringing all these bands to the light. I got those guys. I also have Unleash the Archers, who are like a power metal band from Canada as well. From Canada. And they're doing killer here. And, Wolfheart from Finland also with me. So I got a lot of bands that I worked extremely hard into bringing out to the light.
Do you speak any Italian?
Of course I do.
Parlo ascolta.
Parlo italiano. What the fuck?
I just wanted to conclude, Booth, saying that normally I fuck with people.
Yeah, I know you do.
And I did not do that with you because you are from the same era of metal as I am.
Yeah, I am. And I know who you are, which is great. I think it's great.
Well, the other thing is that you have never been a poser.
No.
You know that I only go after posers.
Yes. Are you going to go after me right now?
No. I was very happy that you knew who I was ahead of time because I met the schizophrenic original singer.
Oh, shit.
In Connecticut a long time ago, and it was a very happy moment for me.
Okay, cool.
But it was before anyone knew what his condition was.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, man, I love Sylvain, man. He's a reason why we exist. And to deny him is a wrong thing to do, man.
Right. And
a mental problem is a mental problem, and if you can't function on a stage, you can't.
But I've always said to people that it's better to have someone who actually has, I don't want to say problems, but a different cognition. I'd rather have that person try to appear normal than someone trying to act crazy.
Right.
And that's why Kataklysm in the early days, there is no comparison.
No, it's original in its form, for sure. It's a different era. To me, it's two different bands. You know, it's two different bands. But I formed it, and that's why I kept the name. That's it. But in the end, it's two different bands. It is.
But
we still play some stuff from it, but I have to do it. I do it in South America. So if I don't do it in South America, I get killed. So we go down there. We do Temple of Knowledge stuff. You know, we'll play Awakener, and we'll play some songs out there. But yeah, that's as far as it gets.
Well, let me tell you, the new metal heads who think that they know everything. Yeah. When I play them old Kataklysm,
they're like freaking out. Yeah. They're like, "What the fuck is this?" Right? Yeah.
So. Is that era of metal done? That full tilt, crazy metal?
I think it's still alive, but different. It's the bands that are now doing it, that are extreme and deathcore and all that stuff. It's not what we came from. That's done.
But did you have any idea in the early days that you were the pioneers that you were?
No. That's what made us pioneers. No, that's what made us pioneers, because we just went out there. Look, the first meeting I had with Sylvain was like this. He came in and he's like, "We're going to be the fastest, most crazy band in the world. You're in or out?" I was like this. I was like, "I'm in." And I was playing my bass. He's like, "No, go faster here, do this." He was telling me how to play my instrument. He doesn't know how to play bass. That's the idea of how he was just craziness, right? But that chaos, right? If you talk to the owner of Nuclear Blast that sold the label now, Marcus Steiger, if you ask him about Kataklysm, it's the three first records. That's the ones that he was like fucking crazy, because he got the demo and he was like, Mystical Gate was like the craziest shit that ever came on my desk. When I popped it in, my mind blew. And he was like, "I have to sign this band." Everybody in the office was like, "Don't sign this crap." He was like, "No, there's something here. It's craziness." And it was just pure energy. And I think that's what made Kataklysm special. You know what I mean?
I would just like to say that all the songs that I ever played on my radio shows had instant phone calls immediately. The first 10 seconds of me playing them.
Yeah.
They want to know, who is this? So
like is what the craziness is it and all that.
It's you really made something unique, and I would like you to at least admit that you know that you did something unique.
I absolutely know that we did something unique, because we didn't sound like anybody.
You sounded like no one.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that was the cool thing about Kataklysm back then, you know. But like I said, you know, the reason we were like that is because he was like that. What you heard was his brain. Okay, which is crazy, right? But that's what made it fucking cool, you know what I mean? And, you know, like I said, man, I love the dude, man. But, you know, it's if you see him today, man, you'll be like, man, what happened, dude? Like, you'll be like that. It's sad.
Yes.
It's a sad situation.
But I really hope that at no point will any of the early songs ever go out of print. Is there a danger of that happening?
No. Because I embrace my past, man. I don't run from it. That's where we come from. And it's out there, and we're still releasing the records, and it'll be out there. Not a problem.
And I guess as a final thing, could you plug anything? He will transcribe on the video for you, like any websites, anything at all.
Like, you know what? Like, just to be honest.
And is Spotify notify?
I don't care about all that shit, man. Like, I buy albums. I'm still buying albums. So, to me, you know, check out the bands I work with, hardimpact.net, and continental/concerts.us for any tours that are coming through. We do the real deal. All the real bands, man. We book them all. So, that's what we do. And that's what I want you to check out. And Kataklysm.net if you like Kataklysm. All right. This is what I'm curious about.
I unfortunately don't have any of the video interviews. They're all like Grimoire on video now.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
But
you're on YouTube.
I'm coming out with a documentary that has Flesh God Apocalypse.
Cool.
Septic Flesh.
Cool.
So the bands that you manage are actually part of it.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome.
So it's a little too late for you, but
so what am I doing here?
MetalDave.com will. What is
Metal Dave Media?
Metal Dave Media.
The fake Metal Dave Media. I'm only saying that because there's a writer for me called Metal Dave, but that's for you.
Get